Hello, everyone. Welcome to this LSE Online Career Accelerator webinar focused on data analytics careers in 2025, trends and opportunities. My personal thanks to everyone for taking out the time in their day, middle of their day, or wherever you may be in the world, to join us in what's going to be a great conversation. I'm going to lead us through a few different areas, but also bringing in a number of great panelists that have joined us today to get across a number of different areas. My name's Jack Hylands. I'm one of the co-founders and co-CEOs of Fourth Rev. We work together with some of the world's very best universities and some of the leading industry partners and experts across different digital fields to build programs that lead directly to career outcomes in different high growth digital fields. Data is a particular area of long-standing passion of ours, and an area that continues to grow from strength to strength and importance. So a great topic for us all to focus on today as we look ahead to our careers in 2025. Okay, so today's accelerator is going to be webinar is going to cover these four different areas. First of all, some of the industry trends that are driving growth in data and various fields across different industries in 2025. Some of the specific skills that employers are demanding today and into the future. And that's going to bring in our first panel discussion around why now is the moment for data analytics. The third area is specifically getting into some of the detail around the LSE Data Analytics Career Accelerator. We know that's a reason why many people are here today, so we're hoping to share some more insights into the program overview, as well as some of the stories of alumni that have taken the program in the past, what their experience has been and where it's taken them to in their careers. And then we'll spend some time at the end addressing some of the common concerns, which again, we know many of you may have, and it will be hopefully helpful and useful to explore some of those areas and see whether or not those concerns remain valid for you, or things that you think you can overcome to crack on with the progress in your career through the accelerator. And then at the end, we will have a Q&A session led by my colleague Niels, who will introduce shortly, that can get into some of the specific questions around the career accelerator that people still have. To call out that this session will be recorded. Please use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen for questions. As well as using the chat for other remarks. If we miss your questions, apologies, we'll try and get across as many of them as possible. And we'll also share some important links to everyone that's attended the webinar following the conclusion of the webinar as well. So we'll do our very best to get across everything. There'll be a couple of polls that we'll go through as well, and we'll really encourage you to participate in those polls as well. Thanks very much. Okay, so getting into it. First of all, just to introduce our panelists that we're really grateful for having joined us for today's session as well. So that includes Tracy, one of the career coaches at Fourth Rev, career coaching being an absolutely integral part of the Career Accelerator experience, and one of the things that really differentiates the experience in helping people achieve career outcomes and not just learn new knowledge and skills, which is what the Career Accelerator experience is very much about. Hello, Tracy. Thanks very much. Hi, Niels. Niels, one of our enrollment advisors at Fourth Rev and an expert in the data analytics field, who's been working with learners over several years now, helping them make the right decision for them and achieve their goals in their careers. So Niels will be taking us through some of the program details later on as well. Thanks very much, Niels. And then a special welcome to Leo Thome, who is joining us as our industry expert guest for today's panel. Leo is a digital transformation, data and AI consultant working with businesses across multiple continents as they tackle some of these big data questions and challenges that are at the core of their business models in today's economy. And is also a long-time teacher with MIT across a variety of different programs as well. So has that fantastic perspective across both industry needs as well as how education can help people further achieve their professional goals. Welcome, Leo, and thanks very much again for making the time. Okay, so without further ado, getting into some of the different some of the content of today's session. And so many of the learners we work with feel stuck. They are either unsatisfied in their career, or they're concerned about their skills becoming obsolete as digital transformation, data, technical skills, and now, of course, AI seems to be accelerating past them on all fronts. And so if this resonates with you, I think the first message that we want to share is you are not alone. This is a very common anxiety across many of the learners that we speak to. And what we've got in front of us here is a quote from one of our graduates, Tim Durgan, who, before he joined the Career Accelerator, is exactly how he was feeling. And he communicated to us that he realized quite quickly that the people in his team could do all of these things that he couldn't do. He didn't know anything about data. He hadn't been into Python before. He could barely do a SQL query, and realized quite quickly that he was getting left behind, and he really didn't know where he was headed in his career. And so Tim is an example of a learner who comes to the program without many technical skills at all, certainly from his own perspective. We also serve a whole variety of learners, all have different anxieties, different strengths, different weaknesses, all things that they want to build on or work on through the Career Accelerator as they build up their technical and their business skills. And we've now been running this program for several years, and we've seen so many amazing stories and transformations. And Tim certainly is one of those stories, coming with this starting position. He has since, bit of a spoiler alert, but gone on to found a very successful AI digital marketing agency company himself that he's leading, that's working with some incredibly impressive clients, and very much has data technical skills at the core of that business model. And he very much credits the Career Accelerator for driving that transformation. Just one of the many career outcome stories, which is, the North Star for us in the success of these programs, and really the drivers of the goals of the team and everyone involved in these experiences. So wonderful to see these learner successes. And so we're going to come to our first poll here, which is just trying to understand a little bit more about the audience. And so a poll should have just come up. And so we want to know why you're here today, why you're giving up this time in your day, and why you're focused or interested in data analytics careers in 2025. And so those four options are: you're looking to start your professional career. Perhaps you've recently finished education in one form or another, and you're looking for that career path ahead. You want to accelerate in your current career path. Many people who are existing roles that have increasing data components that look to the accelerator to push them further along. You're looking to pivot, change career into a new field. You work in a current field but are looking at these high growth roles and seeing that as a really exciting opportunity. Or perhaps you're looking to learn very specific data or business skills. If you can complete that poll now, then it gives us a great idea of the audience that we're talking to today. Okay, thank you very much. I think my colleague Sam might be able to help me see the results there. I can bring them up, but we'll come back to those in a moment. Here they go. Great. So we've got just under 10% of our audience that are looking to start their professional careers. Others, about 20% looking to accelerate in their current career path. The majority looking to pivot into a new field. And the remainder looking to learn some specific data and business skills. Can say that this, often reflects the diversity of our cohorts, and we'll get more into the learning experience of the Career Accelerator, but it is a very personalized experience where you're working with your career coach, your success manager, engaging directly with your industry experts. And so all of these career paths, very, very relevant to what the Career Accelerator's experience can provide. And that's great. Thanks very much. Very, very helpful to understand. Okay. And so just as we head into our first panel discussion, just as a bit of a refresher, I'm sure that none of this is news to anyone on the webinar, and is a key reason why people are interested in data as a field. But for many years now, and continuing to be the case, So much data, so many reports that are highlighting this unstoppable force, the data revolution that's coming through, which is of course being added to now through the whole AI revolution that's coming on top. But data consistently being called out by the World Economic Forum, by LinkedIn, and by the UK government as absolutely critical to all roles, and specific data roles very often in the top 1, 2, or 3 fastest growing roles across most economies. And these are all of the reasons why, of course, it becomes a really critical area of focus. Getting into some more specific skills that are also being in demand. When we think about what can make a successful data analyst, what can help people along in their careers, we think about the technical skills that are absolutely essential to being identified for these particular roles. Things like Python that we've called out before, Tableau, of course, AI, these fundamental pillars that people need now to be successful, but also the business skills, applying those to create genuine business value rather than just learning the technical skills in isolation. Hugely important, the soft skills, the communication, the data storytelling, the problem solving, critical thinking, the skills learned by applying these technical skills to genuine business problems, working with peers, working with experts to figure out how to actually create that real value. And again, all of these skills being called out as growing in importance. And so from that context, let's get into our first panel discussion. So thanks very much again, everyone, for joining us. Hopefully we can get into some interesting areas here. So first of all, and I should encourage, if people have got questions that they would like the panel to answer, please use the Q&A function to submit those questions, and we'll try and get through as many as we possibly can. Okay, so to kick us off, I'll ask the question, and Leo, I'd love to come to you from the start if that's okay. But yeah, that sort of key high-level question at the top: what's driving such significant growth in data analytics jobs based on your experience in working in the field?
Yeah, thanks, Jack. I think the big thing that is driving this explosive growth in data analytics and the jobs that we're seeing, there are actually several factors. First, we're just experiencing unprecedented data explosion. We often hear we've exhausted all data when it comes to these generative AI models, but the reality is organizations are just seeing so much data, and they're generating a lot of data. They're collecting a lot of data. They're storing more and more than ever before. So from customer interactions and operational metrics, I'd like to say there's a data tsunami. And the reality is, as skilled professionals, we need to make sense of all of this. And the second thing is that there's suddenly a growing recognition that data-driven decision-making really delivers a more competitive advantage. So companies that effectively leverage their data, think we're looking at about 5-6% that they're outperforming their peers in terms of productivity, profitability, and then also you're seeing advances in analytic tools like cloud computing that have really democratized powerful data processing capabilities. So not too long ago, it was big enterprise systems that you needed. That's no longer the case. So what once required massive infrastructure, and investment is now really affordable and accessible to organizations of all sizes. So, and I think finally, regulatory requirements around data governance, privacy, security, that created the entirely new category of analytical work, particularly in highly regulated industries. We're looking at healthcare, finance. So the combination of all of these things, I'd say, all these factors, it's probably a bit of a perfect storm, of demand for data analytics and professionals. And the other thing is it's across a variety of sectors in the economy. So those would be some of the main factors I think that's really driving this wave of data analytics that we're seeing.
Yeah, thanks very much, Leo. Really, really interesting. And I think, yeah, sort of recapping there around the tsunami of data that's coming through, the technical or the technology that's making it available and democratizing it across the board, the regulatory demands that are making it essential. Of course, the performance advantages of that data-driven decision making, and then lastly, calling out across a whole variety of fields. So I suppose, yes, in your experience as a consultant, are you seeing that demand across all fields, particular areas, anything that's untouched, or it's comprehensive?
No, I would say it's across all areas, you know. So it's rather organizations making the decision to go that route. So you obviously have the ones that are the laggards that's sitting there, but definitely across all industries, I'm seeing this. And like I said, the big thing that we're seeing is also suddenly a much bigger interest from medium to small organizations as well, because suddenly it's accessible where previously it was not. I think also the wave that we've seen with generative AI have made people sit up straight. So the leadership, it's now much more tangible, and they are taking it seriously. And it's across departments within organizations. Where traditionally it was more focused, let's say, on um, productivity and those enhancements. The expectation now is that people really start shifting to, in terms of their productivity, whenever they work with data. And now there's a requirement for insights that's required across, actually, not just the data analyst needing to give the insights, but within all roles, that there's that shift where the expectation is now that people need to take it to a next level when they work with the organization's data that's out there.
Leo, thank you very much. I mean, I think it's undeniably a sort of call to arms across, yeah, all industries, all different departments within businesses, companies large and small. Coming across to yourself, Tracy, obviously you've worked with hundreds of fourth rev career accelerator learners, but also, you know, a career of working with professionals right across the board. So from your perspective, how urgent is it for professionals to upskill or reskill right now?
Leo said it's absolutely vital. There's no area it's not touching in terms of you know, the importance of data. And I think it's also just something to reiterate, Jack, what you said about it's not just the technical skills. Obviously, they're really, really important, but it's those other soft skills, the problem solving, the communication skills. And also what I'm noticing is organizations are increasingly asking for that translation between the technical and the business. So the understanding of how organizations work, what they need is also increasingly important.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've been beating the upskilling and reskilling drum, I say, for my entire career, and I know I'm not unique in that. But the moment we're in now, across the world, across every economy, really does feel like that imperative is stronger than ever, doesn't it? Yeah. Niels, bringing yourself in here, you speak to a whole variety of prospective learners, as well as you know, continuing that relationship after many have gone through the career accelerator and out the other side. Are you seeing these sort of particular fields where people are really resonating or focused very strongly in terms of this need to upskill, or again, is it a huge variety that you're seeing?
There's definitely a huge variety. We do see a lot of people with a background in finance or accounting, but because it's such a universally applicable skill set to have, we see people from all sorts of industries and types of organizations. And as Leo expressed earlier, not just the bigger organizations, these skills are also more and more in demand in smaller organizations as well. So you have finance, investment banking, that sort of thing, but also healthcare, public policy making, pharma, climate change analytics. And it's not just becoming a data analyst from the skills you acquire on the program and in general, there's more and more people looking to upskill with data analytics to be more self-sufficient in exposing insights from the data they have access to, not being left behind, because they don't want to be relying on a data analyst team every time, and also they want to future-proof their skill set with data analytics. So it doesn't always have to be specifically a data analyst role that you'd be going for. Some and quite a few of our learners do want to and do actually step into a full-on data analyst role, but it's not necessary. Like almost any organization will benefit from having these skills in-house. And when it does come to that, even people with very limited experience with data are still able to step into full-on data analyst roles purely from the skills and experience they build on the program.
Yeah, fascinating insight, and yeah, really interesting. Thanks for the first question that's come through on the Q&A function, and we will come back to that question later on. We'll try and get through as many as possible. We'll answer it in a section that's coming up. Last question for this part of the panel, I suppose it's around, and Leo, would love to bring you back in here around why should someone prioritize data analytics skills over other skill sets? And for a bit more context, I know Tracy sort of already mentioned it's not just about technical data skills. There is looking at broader things, but we know that as a professional, as a busy professional, you know, many people have only got so much time in the day where they can invest their time to crack on and improve. So why data is a good choice to focus on?
Yeah, Jack, I think that one of the probably most compelling reasons for me, as we say, seeing the labor and the job and industry landscape change, it's not that you need to be a specialist at a vertical anymore. So data analytics and having a real understanding of how to work with data creates that portability between industries. So it really just expands your opportunities in the market. At the same time, the combination of data and being a specialist, so having a good understanding of how to work with data and analyze it, but also being a subject matter expert at the data and the industry, that's a really powerful combination. Not too long ago, it was about what you knew, but we have access to information now. So that specialist element is becoming a bit less, but now combining that with really strong data skills and being able to bring the insights, I think that's really important. And then with that, and touching on that, we're seeing the AI tools that's really taking the world by storm. So a lot of the work that people used to do is going to get automated. So that really shifts what employers and industries are looking for. So your routine analytic tasks even are going to get automated. So we're really looking at people that can provide a higher level of interpretation and strategic insights. And that's, I think, again, a skill that's not just linked to a particular industry or job. Once you've started getting that type of insight, you're making yourself really marketable within where the economy and the needs are going. And then finally, I'd say that what I am seeing is that there's a real shortage of people. You know, so I do think that within this industry, the jobs and what people are earning is really creeping up. So I think now is the opportunity to take it. That gap is just going to expand in terms of the market wanting people with these types of skills and how they interact with data and making decisions and adding value to their organizations.
Yeah, thanks, Leo. Really interesting. We need to move on quickly, but one question has come through, and you know, it's a key question being asked in pretty much every business context at the moment, and so I do feel like we should tackle it before we head into some more details around the program. And it's, how do you expect AI to impact the data analyst job? Will it be a useful tool or replace part of the job is the question, or all of the job would be another question. And Leo, I'll come back to you on this if that's okay.
No, absolutely. So, I mean, that is, I think, a top of mind question, not just for data analysts, programmers. We've seen this middle level, people feeling threatened. But I think it's really generative AI. We've already seen how it's transforming how we work with data, but I am convinced, well, at this stage, that it won't eliminate the need for data analysts and those core skills, not for the foreseeable future. The reality is AI is another tool. It's an enabler, right? It's not a replacement. So it can assist with tasks like data cleaning, visualization, and like we've seen, even code generation, Python scripts, you mentioned it earlier. But the reality is it's still going to need human oversight, right? Validate, interpret results. And I can be honest, I see it at this stage on a day-to-day basis, the frustration of working with developers that do not have the insight on how to validate what their code is producing, for example. And again, it's at higher level where you need that insight to interpret the results, and then another issue is ethics. Ethics is a big thing, so ensuring data accuracy and ethical use of that data. Again, there's a human in the loop needed for that, and we need people to fill that gap. And finally, I think these generative models, the reality is that it has no clue what it says. It's a probability that this is the next word, based on what the seed was, right? That you gave this thing to start out with. So we need to apply business context. And it's not there. There's no context. It just says probably, given what you've asked, this is the first word, and based on that, that's the next word it's going to generate. So definitely not in the foreseeable future. I think it's helping us to take away some of the dirty work and making that easier so that we can actually move into higher level value adding and enjoyable work.
Thanks, Leo. Yeah, really interesting to hear your personal perspective there, and I think a lot resonating. I hugely appreciate it when it's either helping me personally or people that I work with get through their work much more productively, but also share those frustrations that when you try and dig into one of the variables that's driving that answer, and it's clear that, well, that hasn't really been considered because the result's been generated by something which someone hasn't fully comprehended or understood. So yes, I share that perspective, definitely. And I think it links through to one of the questions which let's try and tackle now, and be interested, Tracy, in your perspective, one that's come through on the Q&A, which is around the value in senior leadership taking this kind of course, or if it being too detailed. But I know that you work with learners with a variety of experience, so it'd be great to get your perspective on how different learners get value out of these types of skill sets in their career.
Absolutely, Jack. And people do the accelerator for lots of different reasons. But I think if, it might be that you want to do the more practical side of things, and obviously the technical nature and the, what's the word I'm looking for? The fact that I've lost the word. The fact that it is very practical. You do the work, you apply the work, and you can prove that and put it into your portfolio. But it's also really great. Almost any role can be enhanced by some sort of data analytics, but at a senior level, I've learners that have used the course so they have an understanding of what can be done with data, and they have people to do the technical piece, but because they've been through this, they really understand how it can really help the business, and they look at the more strategic decisions and then ask the technical people to apply it. So absolutely, as a senior leader, it really helps that understanding and enable your organization to use the information more effectively.
And I can think, Tracy, absolutely of learners that run global departments at banks all the way through to career starters looking to secure their first job, and obviously different needs, different starting points, but again, because of all of the different support and challenge of the program. It's providing pathways to people reaching these different goals. Okay, thank you very much. Really interesting discussion, and thank you for the questions that have pushed us on a bit further there. It does mean we're now playing a little bit of catch up with the agenda, but I'm going to hand over to Niels now. Sorry, I've skipped ahead one too many there. To get into a bit of detail on the program overview of the Career Accelerator.
Happy to, and I'll try and keep it brief. I don't actually see the slide currently. I don't know if it's just me. Okay, there it is. It's back. Okay, perfect. I'll get through what we cover on the program, what it looks like in practice, but I'll also be here at the end of this webinar to answer any questions that are left unanswered. But basically, this program is a collaborative model between industry and academics, so it's a very practical approach to education, really focused on the industry relevance, how you deliver meaningful outcome out of the analysis that you do, but also working on your own career progression as discussed. Now, because of this, we make sure that you can translate your findings to actionable outcomes, but also that you have the skills to tailor your visualization of the data and your storytelling to key stakeholders, depending on who you're talking to really aid in that data-driven decision-making process and strategy building. Now, to do this effectively, you'll need more than just technical skills. So we do focus on more of a capability quadrant on the program, of which technical skills will definitely be the main part, but we also get into navigating the broader business acumen, working on your own employability and your personal skills to really support your ongoing career advancement. Now, when it does come to the technical skills that we cover on the program, you don't actually need any specific experience with any of the tools or coding languages that you'll be learning. It is very beginner friendly. It builds up quite gradually, but due to the intensity of the program, you do reach quite advanced skill levels with these technical skills. Now, on the program, we cover Excel, Tableau, SQL Postgres, SQL databases, Python, and R. Now, we cover Python and R, but the main focus on the program is Python, and the skills you acquire there will be quite transferable to R. You'll learn how to integrate Python with other tools you'll be using. You get into all of the predictive analysis, predictive modeling, forecasting, and statistical models. And then all of the dashboarding you do will be through Tableau, but the skills you acquire there will be quite transferable to Power BI, which is the main alternative to Tableau. Now, because of the increasing importance of AI and especially being AI literate in the coming years, we have also included a AI learning track on this program. Now, this builds further upon the skills that you've already acquired up until that point, and it's not highly technical. It is really more focused on the implementation of AI, how you effectively use it as a data analyst. So we get into things like synthetic data creation, entity recognition, sentiment analysis, creating AI-driven user personas, and AI ethics. Now, during the 3 courses, you will cover all of the technical skills and the softer skills that are important. And then at the end of the program, you will complete an employer project with one of our employer partners. So you'll be putting all these skills into practice with a real employer on a project basis. And this is going to enable you to show that you have the confidence and competence in working with data, and really being able to differentiate yourself from other candidates by having real world examples to draw upon as well. So basically at the end of each course and at the end of the employer project, you will complete a project, and these 4 projects together will create your practical portfolio of evidence, which is going to enable you to really highlight your experience to a potential employer. Now, on the program, you get support through different ways. Firstly, the career coaching, as we have already discussed, you will have an individual career coach assigned to you who will be working with you to make sure that you are taking the correct steps to your career goals, short term, but also definitely look at your longer term career goals and next steps to take in that process. Now, when it comes to your progression through the program, you will have an individual success manager appointed to you who will be your go-to person if you struggle with anything at all on or off the program that might be preventing you from progressing as intended. And they'll look at how you can overcome any hurdles that you might be facing. We're very much aware that many of our learners are at a point in their career that anything can happen. And we want to be there to make sure that you reach the end of the program successfully. The last thing we want is anyone to drop out of the program, so we have a lot of systems in place to make sure that doesn't happen. And the last support that you get on the program is the technical support from our course facilitators. If you have any questions regarding technical content, you can always reach out to the course facilitators through the online platform or during the weekly live sessions that we host. You can interact with the course facilitators there. And if you miss any of our live activities for whatever reason, you can always watch the recordings as well. Now, from the program, you will get your certificate of completion from LSE, which will also add a lot of value to your profile. LSE has quite a high global employee reputation ranking. This won't go unnoticed, and we often get that as feedback from our graduates as well, that just adding LSE to their profiles really helped open doors for them, get that initial interview, and then their experience and knowledge and portfolio of evidence from the program does the rest of the talking. There is also a postgraduate route available for our graduates of this Career Accelerator program. So if you have completed this Career Accelerator program, you can opt to complete one further academic capstone project and obtain a formal postgraduate qualification from LSE, which would be credit bearing towards a master's degree as well. But as it stands by itself, the Career Accelerator program has proven to be more than enough for people to successfully transition or advance their career or kickstart their career with data analytics, even for people that have had very limited experience with data. Again, it builds up very gradually, but then you do reach quite advanced skill levels with all of these skills that I discussed.
Niels, thank you very much. Really appreciate you taking us through those details. So Niels has covered a lot of areas there, and so just to recap on some of those, it's online and part-time, but it is an intense program. It's 15 to 20 hours a week. You're going to need to be able to dedicate that in order to be successful in the program. The vast majority of our learners are working at the same time, and so it is possible to combine the competing demands of professional, family, and study. We've seen that, but it is certainly an intense experience, and people really need to commit to that experience to get the outcomes that they're seeking from the program. But it's designed, and there is a number of support structures in place to again help those individuals balance those different things and be successful. And that is including, you know, the work from the career coaches and the success managers, as well as the industry facilitators. It's not a video course. It's not a, you know, content that can be, you know, found online. We know that there are other courses available. It's really that complete holistic support structure, which is why people choose this course, and it helps them get to where they want to go. The last quote that was sort of read out there from John, one of our alumni from the Career Accelerator. The breadth of expertise that you can tap into is amazing from the research side, and that comes from working with world-leading academics at an institution like LSE, and then on the practical side with industry expert facilitators that have got that real experience of applying these things to their job on a day-to-day basis, leading live sessions that can be watched and recording if you can't fit that into your schedule, but of course are really encouraged to attend. And all of that expertise brought together, and it's that combination, that very powerful combination, underpinned by the career coaching and the support structures that are seeing us achieve, along with our learners, their very amazing career outcomes that we've seen on many times. So coming through just to the real world project component of the course, which Niels mentioned before, which is how we round off the Career Accelerator, building up with the 3 courses that are full of practical applied projects, but then coming to your real world project at the end. And these are projects that are co-created and co-delivered with live companies, and some of the companies are showcased there that you can see that we've worked with before: the Bank of England, major institutions, leading technology consultancies like ThoughtWorks, leading scale-up digital native companies like Zumo, a whole host of companies where we're creating data-driven problems, projects that are really relevant to their organizations, working with data sets from those organizations, and getting live feedback from experts, building those networks, building those connections, and building out your portfolio that really stands our learners in great stead when they go out into the job market. They have a certificate from a school as prestigious as LSE. They're able then to really practically talk about their skills and how they've applied it to solving genuine business problems that they've done with such organizations as those you can see on the screen. And so a glimpse of that in one of the projects completed very recently from the Bank of England. We did a sentiment analysis on speeches issued by the Bank of England over the last 27 years. And the brief was to model this against key economic indicators and provide insight into where the market was going. So how was the market responding to these speeches from the Bank of England? What lessons could be learned from that? And we know that the Bank of England, yet incredibly impressed with some of the output that they've received and things that they've actually been able to take back into the organization and draw genuine value from. And we know from our learners, being able to talk about that type of experience in interviews really stands them in great stead, showcasing it in their portfolio. And so getting into some of the alumni success stories that we can share today. We got a brief glimpse into Tim's journey earlier on, came to the course really as with a marketing background, but without that technical background, and saw that his industry was becoming fundamentally data driven. And then the next wave of AI coming onto that now. And as he says there, if I'd not done this program, I wouldn't have a business, to put it pretty bluntly. He's now got a business. He's thriving with some great clients with an AI-driven, data-driven marketing business, and going on to great success, which has been wonderful to watch. Arthur is an example of someone that's switching. He'd started a professional career as a researcher, but saw huge opportunity in the high growth of data-driven opportunities, an area that he was really interested and passionate about, and very quickly managed to achieve that switch across from researcher to business analyst. Again, telling us that he was able to land that job really early on with a great company that he was really passionate about. So a wonderful win for him. And then Elodie. Elodie is someone that has joined us on webinars before, and whose story we have celebrated before, because it really is a special one for us. Elodie was in our first data analytics cohort back in 2022, and she'd spent 16 years as a teacher. And she was actually offered a data analytics role whilst on the program, and then since went on to 2 promotions from that point, quickly leading as the director of development at a software company, actually managing a whole host of analysts and engineers herself. Very recently, she started as the senior analytical lead at the NHS. Combining some of her science background with her data analytics skills and the experience, this sort of career transformation in such a short period of time, sort of about 2.5 years, really has been wonderful to see with the Career Accelerator very much at the start of that journey. And fantastically for us, she recently became an assistant facilitator on one of our cohorts as well. So a sort of a real life full circle moment for us, and something that the team has very much enjoyed and feels very proud of. So we're sort of getting into the final stages of the webinar, and we're going to come to next is some of the common questions that people have that are stopping them from enrolling. We've got a few questions thrown up here on the screen, as well as some that have come through on the Q&A as well. Just to tick up some on the Q&A quite quickly, the program is not eligible for funding through the Data Skills Bootcamp initiative. So that isn't a path that we can provide. There are flexible payment options that Niels will be able to get into in more detail, but that supports people making the payments over a much longer period of time. But that's the Bootcamp initiative is not one that we can support. So then the other type of questions that we often see: what if I struggle with technical content? How do I fit this into my schedule? Have I got the right background to succeed in this program? Do I have the right experience? Do I have too much experience? All of these are questions that we see. And so I'd love to bring, in particular, Tracy and Niels back into the conversation here, as they've got such insight of working with many learners over the years. And so just to start with yourself, Tracy, I think if you could help with that very common question we see: will I be able to fit this into my working and personal schedule? What do you see with learners, and how do they navigate that question?
It is a question I get asked a lot at the beginning of the process, because the number of hours that we talk about, we mean. but it's well worth doing. So I work with individuals to help them remember the motivation why they're doing the course, but also with finding ways of fitting it into their lives. And as Jack said earlier, some people got full-time jobs, families, and they're doing the course. And it's about prioritization. So it's being able to understand your motivation to doing the course and give the course the right level of priority. I always joke with people that the accelerators that we do, they're not really data analytics courses, they're time management courses in disguise, because you will become very good at managing your time when you get to the end of the course. And, you know, vast majority of learners fit it in quite successfully.
Thanks very much, Tracy. Yeah, no, certainly a big commitment, certainly intense experience, and people need to be prepared to take that on. But what they can achieve over a relatively short experience of time, and that links through to the ROI that people get from the course. And Niels, be interested in your perspective here. Of course, the course fee is not insignificant. It's a major investment for people to make. And so questions that people have around that sort of financial cost, one, the sort of affordability of it, but also, you know, whether it's worthwhile their investment versus other paths that they might be considering. So we'd love to get your perspective on that return on investment question in particular.
Yes, definitely. And this also ties into a question that I saw come in the Q&A section about, how can we justify the cost as compared to other programs? So there's a couple of ways how this Career Accelerator program differs from a lot of alternatives that you see out there. And of course, it's true that you can gain technical skills in a lot of different ways. We're very, very much aware of that. The way this program is quite unique and justifies the cost of it is the collaborative approach between industry and academics. We make sure that everything that you learn on the program is very much relevant to the industry, and we keep updating it as well as the individual support is a huge part of this program. The individual career coaching is a really important part to make sure that our learners achieve their career goals, but also the individual support from your individual success manager, the availability of the course facilitators, and then building that practical portfolio of evidence with real world experience as well. Everything is geared towards very specific career outcomes. It's very much individualized to what you need to be working on to get to where you want to be. And this makes it worth that investment. From a recent survey, we found that over 87% of our learners achieve their career goals during or shortly after completing the program. And as Jack highlighted earlier, we often see multiple career successes after completing the program in a very short period of time. An average salary increase of our learners is over 21% from that same survey. Now, this, of course, differs from person to person, depending on your experience and how rigorous your career change is. But definitely the career coach will also help you maximize your potential there. If salary is one of your key motivators and one of the criteria that you find most important in your next role or future career progression, then this is what the career coach can prioritize with you. We also see people with that do quite intense career changes to a completely different role, but then are still able to negotiate quite favorable salary conditions, even when they have very limited experience with data, because the career coach can help you firstly identify the transferable skills that you have that are highly valued by employers, but secondly also help you how you approach these salary negotiations and how you show your value and help you navigate that as well.
Thanks very much, Niels. And yeah, I think that last point also one of the questions that's come through on the Q&A, which is quite a detailed question around combining, you know, great experience in finance with these types of data skills. And yeah, sorry, not equipped to answer that very specific question myself right here and with the time that we have. But you know, what Niels is speaking to there around working directly with your career coach, with your industry experts, with employer partners that would be part of that experience is what helps identify what those really great opportunities are and maximize the outcome by building on that brilliant professional skill set that someone might already be bringing to the program to take it forward, Or if someone has got less experience, then it's helping them find that more sort of entry-level role and that personalized support from the career coaches and the broader team is very much a critical, unique, I think, experience of the Career Accelerator offering. Okay, we're sort of getting into the last components of the webinar. There are some more questions here, and just trying to get through as many of them as possible that we're able to. There was a question around clarification on the postgraduate element for the Career Accelerator, and I think this is a really important one. And that's after some successfully completed the Career Accelerator, they are eligible to complete an academic capstone that results in a postgraduate certificate qualification from the London School of Economics. So that's a level 7 postgraduate qualification that the learners can all earn through doing that additional capstone project. A great question around someone changing their career from marketing to data analytics without data analytics experience. Do they have the right experience? It's obviously a question that we get all the time, and that's something which would be great to talk to an enrollment advisor about, how you can build on the experience that you have in marketing, combine that with data analytics, and open up a whole heap of new opportunities. So it really depends on what your career goals are, but absolutely have we seen people transfer from marketing into more data analytics roles, or combining those skills to really accelerate in the marketing field or an adjacent field as well. Okay. We need to keep moving through to the final few things to cover. We have completed this panel discussion there, and so it's just sort of reflecting on a couple of last stories from some of our alumni, again giving people that insight into, do I have the right background? And so another great story, we often talk about helping learners go further faster, and so quite a nice metaphor for our learner John, who was a ski instructor but had made the decision in his mid-30s that he wanted to get into a data analytics role, and he had some quite specific goals that he put down with his career coach at the beginning of the program, and was absolutely delighted to have achieved those very, very quickly upon graduation. And Tracy, being part of that experience, nodding her head there, and that was him wanting to get into a data analytics role in a company that shared his values, that was doing good in the world, and was really, really passionate about what that was going to be. And that he got that upon graduation was such a wonderful thing to see, and also feeding back that, again, those different components of the technical skills, the LSE certificate, the portfolio he was being able to demonstrate, talking about working on a project with the Bank of England and seeing the cogs turning in the interviewer's mind as he's going through these examples of, oh right, yeah, this is some really serious experience that he's gained through this learning program, not just the knowledge or the skills individually, but that whole combined holistic proposition, which has led to him securing that role. So it was really wonderful seeing that all come together for John. I'm going to hand back to Niels now, who's going to take us through that last bits of information around the program and what's coming up this year, and say thank you to Tracy and to Leo, our other panelists, and for personal thanks from me, everyone who's given up their time today. Please stay on to hear from a bit more information from Niels, and some time for some additional Q&A before the hour is up. But thanks very much from me, and over to you, Niels.
Thank you. So yeah, as this slide says, the amazing career coaching that you've heard so much about during this webinar, we're actually very happy and to be offering this extended career coaching support. So we've gone beyond the standard career coaching that we offer our learners, because we are quite confident of the outcomes of the program. This puts us in a position where we can offer extended individual career coaching with up to an additional 6 months of career coaching until you actually achieve your intended career outcomes from the program. So to benefit from this, you would need to express your interest in this offer before the 31st of March, which you can do by booking a call with your individual enrollment advisor, or if you have already contacted them, drop them an email and get started on the process to get your spot secured on the program. This is more of what we have already discussed. The career coach should be working with you to refine your personal brand and portfolio, and prepare you for your pivotal career moments, and help you achieve sustainable career growth. So not just your first next role, but also really work towards the skills that you're going to need to take control of your own career in the coming years. Again, deadline to benefit from this offer is the 31st of March for our April 28th intake. So be sure to reach out to your individual success manager, your individual enrollment advisor, and they'll be happy to help you further. I will stay on for additional questions, but next steps that you can take now if you are interested to pursue this Career Accelerator program, or if you're still making up your mind, still doing your research, regardless of where you're at in your process, can never hurt to have a quick chat with your enrollment advisor. You can ask any questions you might have there, but they can also go through the program with you, its intended outcomes, and all of the practical sides as well. I will get into a couple of these questions that have been asked in the Q&A. But yeah, definitely book a call with your enrollment advisor. They can get into all of the payment options that we have available depending on your situation. We are always willing to think in solutions there. If you're looking for if employer sponsorship, partially or fully, we can do split invoicing, anything like that. Yeah, do reach out to your enrollment advisor, and they can help you overcome any hurdles that you might have. And again, if you can secure a spot on the program before the 31st of March, you will have the extended individual career coaching, which is up to 12 months in total, or until you actually achieve your intended career outcome from the program. Only reason we can actually offer this is because we're already quite confident that you will achieve your career goals quite soon after completing the program. It would be in our best interest, as well as yours, that you achieve your career goals sooner rather than later. So that's why we can offer this. So it's a bit of an extra guarantee for yourself that you're working towards your own career goals. I think I'm ready to get into the Q&A part. I'll go through as many questions as I can, unless there's anything else to discuss, Jack.
Well, I think Tracy, there's also a question that Tracy wanted to jump in on, and then Niels gives you a moment to look at some of the other questions that you could help with.
Yeah, it's the question about, do you think at 50 I'm too old to pivot into a different field? I just wanted to say absolutely not. Elodie, who we mentioned earlier, if you look at one of her LinkedIn posts, she talks about her career change at 50, and she's absolutely flying and loving it now. So, at 50, you've still potentially got nearly 20 years work ahead of you. So don't let age be a barrier to this. We have plenty of older people who make the pivot. And just to reiterate as well, the range of career changes that we have is quite phenomenal. So we had the marketing question. We've had lots of marketing people who move into analyst roles. It could be a two-step process. They might go into customer insights and then into a full data analytics role, or sometimes they pivot straight across to an analyst role. In the finance field, I know we have a question around there. If you're at a senior level and want to progress in your career, it's, as we said before, it's that knowledge of what can be done with data will enhance your strategic skills at the very senior end, or you can go into specialized analyst roles in the financial field. It depends where you are. But also, as Jack said, the career coaching is personal. It's individual to each career coaching program is different because we tailor it to the individual. So the coach will get to know you, get to know your aims and objectives for your career, and help support you get there.
Thank you, Tracy. Niels, anything that you want to jump to straight away?
Yep, definitely. Well, I'm planning to just go through the questions as I see them in the Q&A. There's quite a few there. I'll just start at the top. This question has been in there for quite a while. It's about the use of Power BI and Tableau, that the free versions have limited functionality compared to the paid ones, which companies typically use. So on the program, we do use, we teach Tableau. Tableau is one of our co-creators of this program in collaboration with LSE and GitHub. So we do use Tableau. As I mentioned earlier, the skills you acquire there will be quite transferable to Power BI, which would be the main alternative, as mentioned in the question as well. Now, when you're on the program, you do gain access to the use of Tableau. You get a license number for the duration of the program, so you will learn how to use the paid version there as well. In addition to that, if you ever want to do any additional learning, or if you have any queries regarding other programs or anything like that, you can always reach out to the course facilitators as well. They can always advise on how to best approach specific tools, or how things work in practice, what you see with employers, and how you can best navigate that. I'll just skip through some of the more practical questions, as these are definitely questions that you can discuss with your enrollment advisor. I'll get to them later on if we have time. Let's see here. Does this program have partner companies which directly hire employees from the program? Short answer, no. However, as it is going to be more about creating sustainable career success for yourself, the career coach will work with you to make sure that you have the skills to find the roles that are of interest to you, and how you approach a potential employer and how you best navigate that. We do work with international recruiting firm like Robert Walters, and it does happen from time to time that one of our employer partners actually hires one of our learners. But that's, to be honest, is more a question of being at the right place at the right time. It's not something you should be counting on. By far, most of the career outcomes that we see are a direct result of the individual career coaching. Question about payment plans. Definitely discuss that with your enrollment advisor if I don't get around to that to just now. The live sessions that we host weekly will be on weekdays at 12. So the weekly online live session and drop-in session that we'll have every week with the course facilitators will be held on Thursdays and Fridays at 12. There will be other live sessions spread throughout the program, which will be held on the other weekdays also at 12. Again, all of our live activities are also recorded, so if you miss any of these, you can always watch the recordings as well. So this question about the English speaking accent of lecturers or tutors provided by this program. So our course facilitators have very understandable English skills. There's never been any issue with any of our learners unable to properly follow what the course facilitators are saying. That said, for the program, we do have some English language test requirements. If you have not studied any English on a higher educational level, you would need to prove your English language speaking abilities in different ways. Again, definitely discuss this with your enrollment advisor, because there's multiple ways to bypass this language test requirement for yourself. This is a question about comparison to other providers offering the same course but a bit less cost. And we kind of covered this already. The unique aspects of this program, again, the individual support, the career focuses of it, the collaborative model, and really setting yourself up for sustainable career success. And we have the outcomes to prove that as well. We put our money where our mouth is in that sense. We're confident of the outcomes of the program, which is why we're offering the extended individual career coaching currently. Again, we wouldn't be able to do that if everyone actually needed 12 months of individual career coaching. The only reason we can offer this is that we're quite confident that you will achieve your career goal soon after completing the program, if not already during. So that's definitely something worth the investment, and also the outcomes that I mentioned earlier, the average salary increase and the success rate of our graduates. The eligibility for the 24-month payment plan, again, with payment plans, definitely reach out to your enrollment advisor. But for the 24-month payment option, you would need to have working rights in the UK or the EU to be eligible for the 24-month payment option. Reason is that this is a payment option that we're offering in collaboration with a financing partner called StepX. How many intakes do we have for this program? So we offer this program 4 times a year. We started our first intake of this year in February. Next intake will be April 28th, and then once again in July and October of this year. Regardless of when you're looking to start the program, or even where you're at in your research phase, just book a call with your enrollment advisor just to get an idea of how and if this program can fit your needs and your ambitions. And really, regardless of where you're at there, and if you are even actively considering the program, it's always good to have a chat with your enrollment advisor and see how that could fit in your plans.
Niels, let me jump in here. Thank you. We've gone a bit over time. Thank you so much for comprehensively getting through that, and to all the participants that have continued and stayed with us through to the end of the Q&A. We've got through almost all of the questions on the Q&A. There's sort of 2 outstanding. One of them's quite specific, and I'd encourage that person to speak to an enrollment advisor that can help give them further guidance on payment or finance related questions. And then Harshdeep as well, the question around the capstone. Please reach out to your success manager, who will be able to give you the full details on how you can enroll post your completion of the Career Accelerator into the postgraduate certificate capstone with the London School of Economics. And so I will round things off there by just saying once again a huge thank you to everyone for attending. Thank you very much to Tracy and Niels for giving up your time, and especially thank you very much to Leo for giving up his time today, as well as our special industry guest. Really great insights that are hugely appreciated. I hope everyone got out of today some of the things that they wanted as much as possible. We do encourage you to follow up and book a call with your enrollment advisor to get any further information that you would like, and a reminder that to take advantage of that additional 6 months of career coaching, that deadline of the 31st of March to get started in our April intake. Thanks very much, everyone. Have a great day, and hope to see many of you on the program. Bye-bye.